I welcome you all to another edition of our e-magazine, Corporate Magnus. Today we have our esteemed guest, Mr. Ramakrishnan sir, who is a fintech architect who have vast experience into the field of finance, and of course he is also our college alumnus. He belongs to 1996 batch from Ramakrishna Mission Vivekananda College, and he also completed his MBA from London School of Business. He have various accolades, accomplishments. I'm very happy to introduce him before you all. Welcome, sir. Vanakkam.
Thank you very much. Vanakkam.
Yes, sir. Sir, kindly share about your formative years. உங்களோட childhood days. நீங்கள் எந்த மாதிரியான ஒரு person, உங்கள் family background, இதை பற்றி கொஞ்சம் சொல்ல முடியுமா?
First of all, thank you very much, Sitaram sir. The initiatives that you have been taking in Vivekananda College, I think over the last 6-7 months, எனக்கு உங்களுக்கு தெரியும். And the initiatives you have been taking in Vivekananda College is phenomenal. And in fact, I was telling another friend of mine, இந்த மாதிரி initiatives, இந்த மாதிரி ஒரு able professor who can bring a lot of such changes will make a big difference to a lot of students. So let me start by congratulating you and your team of people for such great initiatives. So என்னோட formative years has been a very middle class way of starting life. Classic middle class family. Born and brought up in Mylapore. Vivekananda College பக்கத்தில் தான். ஸோ அவர் லைஃப் வாஸ் ரிவால்விங் அரவுண்ட் மயிலாப்பூர். அண்ட் ஸ்கூல் படித்தது கிலாதஷ்னு ஒரு ஸ்கூலில் படித்தோம், விச் வாஸ் இன் ராயப்பேட்டா. And I must say Gladish had a very, very big positive impact on me, even during those days. It basically taught me to speak very openly in the debating, cultural activities, and the initiation எல்லாமே கிலாதஷ்ல தான் வந்துச்சு எனக்கு கம்ப்ளீட்டாக. And then, when everybody was getting into biology, computer science, engineering, அப்படிலாம் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கும்போது me and some of my friends were very, very clear. எங்களுக்கு அந்த சைடில் போவேனா அந்த ஆக்யூமனும் இல்லை. We wanted to get into something which will teach us the generics of business and take it forward from there. So we had a very clear understanding and idea of what we have to do. Fortunately, I had some good friends during college. Ingodia, Mylapore, we had some great times. Some of my best memories, which I can relive, it is going back to these days where my schooling and the third year Vivekananda College, those I will call them as my formative years. It was some spectacular life, where you also learn in life that ரொம்ப simple life இருந்தும் happiness இருக்கும் அப்படின்னு ஒரு lesson is something that you always learn in your formative years. And I try to keep that as much as possible even today. So if you ask me what gives you happiness அப்படின்னு கேட்டிங்கன்னா அந்த மயிலாப்பூர் ஏரியா போயிட்டு அங்கே ஃப்ரெண்ட்ஸை போய் மீட் பண்ணிவிட்டு ஒரு கடைக்கு போயிட்டு absolutely some of them, not everybody, but அந்த core friends இருந்தாங்க இல்லையா, both in school and college. I mean, Kalidas is one of them who you met. Very much in touch, when you meet them. And they're all doing so well in life, absolutely very well in life. But when we all meet each other, we only talk about the happy times of college. Professors pati by default பேசுவோம் like anybody else. எந்த professor என்ன பண்ணிட்டு இருந்தாரு, very positive way. So I have a lot of gratitude for my school and Vivekananda College kandipa, because Vivekananda College also shaped up a lot of me. If I'm being invited and I feel considered as a privilege to sit here in front of you and talk, Vivekananda College had a very, very big role to play in that. In many ways. We'll talk through that in many, many ways.
Amazing, sir. I gone through your profile. I found you also completed your MBA from London School of Business. Before going into that, as you mentioned previously, you got some kind of interest towards business and something. What is the instigating point? At what age or at what moment, which moment you decide that this is going to be your career? Is there any other defining moment in your life?
Defining moment is not 1 minute or 1 day. It is basically your social circle. It is about you looking around and seeing what is happening. Now, fortunately, when I was transitioning from school to Vivekananda College and all that, I have to thank my parents. On the AppTech computer education, I first got my exposure towards computers, and many, many years back. We're talking about 96. So the advent of internet by itself is coming. ஒரு yahoo.com பேஜ் போட்டால் அது வரதுக்கே it'll take about 5 minutes time. ஸோ அப்போ ஆப்டெக்கில் வந்துட்டு we got into aptech. Like I said, classic middle class family, but ultimately எல்லா பேரண்ட்ஸுக்கும் என்ன பண்ணணும், our children should be educated with the highest level of caliber. ஸோ அதனால் ஈவினிங் காலேஜ் விவேகானந்தாவில் பிகாம் ஜாயின் பண்ணோம். அண்ட் டே டைமில் வந்து I was joining aptech. And the world of computers was very, very attractive to me. Now, a lot of people are asking me, on computers அவ்வளோ இன்ட்ரெஸ்ட் இருந்தால் நீ engineering சேரல அப்படின்பாங்க. No, I think it's two different subjects. On one side, I was always excited to be part of business. And then on the other side, learn something on computers, understand how computer is going to make a change to the world. So, and the rendu navigation point that brought in the interest typically to me. And then in our family, we had a few people who were into business. I should talk about my grandfather. எங்கள் தாத்தா இருந்தார், மதுரையில் இருந்தார். And school holidays by default we used to go to Madurai. And அவர் வந்து he is one of my, I would say, ரோல் மாடல்ஸ் கூட நான் சொல்லுவேன். ஏன்னா he retired பண்ணிவிட்டு அவர் வீட்டில் இல்லாமல் இந்த இந்த வடா முறுக்கு அதெல்லாம் பண்ணி he used to go to every shop and house and he used to sell. ஸோ ஹாலிடேஸில் போகும்போது நான் அவர் கூட போவேன், இந்த வீட்டுக்கு போவேன், இந்த கடைக்கு போவேன். அந்த வே யூஸ் டு செல், எனக்கு அதுவே ஒரு பயங்கர ஒரு எக்ஸைட்மெண்ட்டாக இருக்கும். அவர் என்னெல்லாம் சொல்லுவார், எப்படி ஒரு ப்ராடக்ட்ஸை மார்க்கெட் பண்ணுவார், என்னெல்லாமோ வைப்பார்.
Because this is what I'm exactly asking, because not everyone will have some kind of interest or fascination towards business. So something that is involved. That's why I asked that.
Correct. And I'm very proudly saying that I have a lot of his positive qualities. ஸோ நான் சொல்ல மாதிரி வீடாக நான் ஹாலிடேஸ் போவோம், போயிட்டு எல்லார் வீட்டுக்கும் போவோம், தெரிஞ்ச கான்டாக்ட் வீட்டுக்கு போவோம், கவர்மெண்ட் ஆஃபீஸுக்கு போவோம். அங்கே வந்து ஒரு நாள் கொண்டு வந்து ஒரு he will sell these snacks. One day he will go and sell sarees and a lot of other things. And I used to be very excited about the way he used to talk to people, he used to convey the message, and there was always a market.
Amazing. And I am very much curious to know why London School of Business and how.
So London Business School is one of the top 7 premier institutions in the world, right? So MBA முடிச்சாச்சு, graduation முடிச்சாச்சு. எல்லாருமே they were getting into IIM. Kalidas is also from IIM Bangalore, and a lot of people are going to other institutes. And எங்கள் செட்டப்பில் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா பிகாம் பண்ணும்போதுட்டு almost 75% of them வந்து பிகாம் பண்ணுறதுக்கு முன்னாடியே CA ஃபவுண்டேஷன் முடிச்சிருவாங்க. They'll quit the course after the first year and then they'll get into CA. So by the time you finish your graduation, they would have finished their CA final, if I remember, and employee ஆகிடுவாங்க. அது மாதிரி ICAA பண்ணுவாங்க, ACS பண்ணுவாங்க. Some friends were sitting and actively preparing for CAT and they wanted to get into the top institutes of India. Somewhere I was very clear that I want to do an international course. But if you want to do an international course, that too in the top 5-7 institutes in the world, அப்படின்னா உங்களுக்கு job experience வேணும். If you really need work experience. So I and then you need that formative number of duration of class sessions that you have to basically do. So I decided that I will not prepare for any of these things. And, I was enjoying my college times, I must say. And when I said enjoy, it means in a very positive way. நிறைய culturals போகிறது, நிறைய debate competitions, quiz competitions, ஜம்மு அண்ட் காஷ்மீர்லேருந்து ஆரம்பித்து நம்ம லோக்கல் ஆர்இசி ட்ரிச்சி வரைக்கும் நான் ட்ராவல் பண்ணியிருக்கேன் விவேகானந்தா காலேஜில் இருக்கும்போது, ஃபார் கல்ச்சுரல்ஸ் காம்படிஷன்ஸ். அண்ட் லாட் ஆஃப் காம்படிஷன்ஸ் வி ஹவ் ஒன், அகெயின் தேங்க்ஸ் டு த மோட்டிவேஷன் ஆஃப் விவேகானந்தா இன்ஸ்டியூட். ஸோ ஐ வாஸ் நாட் ப்ரிப்பேரிங் ஃபார் அ ஸ்கேட் ஆர் எனிதிங் லைக் தட் பிகாஸ் ஐ நியூ வாட் ஐ வாண்டட் டு பேசிக்லி டூ. ஸோ ஐ காட் இன்டு அ ஜாப். மை ஃபர்ஸ்ட் ஜாப் வித் சிட்டி பேங்க். ஒரு மேனேஜ்மெண்ட் ட்ரெயினியாக அந்த காலத்தில் த்ரூ கான்டாக்ட்ஸ் ஜாயின் பண்ணேன். தென் ஐ வாஸ் ஒர்க்கிங் ஃபார் அ கம்பெனி கால் Temenos. And at the right time I said it's time for me to take a break and go into an MBA. அப்போ I sat and prepared for my GMAT. Apply பண்ணேன். It took some time for me to crack it. Then my company was supporting me a lot because to get into LBS is not easy. அதனால they were supporting me. They were giving me the flexibility to work part-time and then do a full-time executive MBA and all that. அதனால I was able to do it. And why London Business School? Because UK is a country that's always excited me. London is at that point of time seen as the global business hub, more than US. I always had a choice of applying for US also, but somewhere there was this attraction towards London. Initially, I joined பண்ணும்போது I was in London for about 6 months' time, and that excitement was there. அதனால I decided to go into London Business School, though I had opportunities to work for other B schools. LBS எடுத்தேன், and things have been great.
I need to ask this question from students' perspective. How you felt once you entered London School of Business, and what all the experience that are immemorable, the things you noticed, and how you adapted there? Can you share few things about it?
கண்டிப்பா. See, to me, an education institution, sir. I will not really differentiate அது லண்டன் பிஸ்னஸ் ஸ்கூல் அதனால ரொம்ப டிஃப்ரெண்ட்டாக இருக்கும் அப்படின்லாம் ஒன்றும் கிடையாது. பிகாஸ் let me be very honest, மேபி நான் விவேகானந்தாவில் வந்து இந்த ஃபஸ்ட்டு ஒரு 3-4 months for me to get accustomed to that, culture, the spiritual way of Vivekananda College being run and all that, that was more exciting to me, because by the time I went to London Business School, I was already a professional, work experience irundhuchu, and that is what the institution also expecting from you. நீங்கள் வந்து இந்த MBA institute போகும்போது they expect you to also contribute, not just sit like a sponge and absorb everything. So அந்த மாதிரி இருந்துச்சு. But it was very exciting moment, இல்லையா? Because since childhood you want to do a premier institution, join பண்ணி உங்களுக்கு ஒரு MBA பண்ணணும், அந்த மாதிரி இருக்கும்போது when you get an opportunity like that, thanks to Cosmos and blessings of teachers and parents எல்லாம் இருக்கும்போது, it is a very defining moment in your life. Was very grateful, but then the pressure was also there. You meet a lot of alumni people, and அந்த மாதிரி இன்ஸ்டியூட்ஸில் நீங்கள் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா people again with a lot of work experience வருவாங்க, investment bankers வருவாங்க, lot of CEOs from companies who risen up to the highest level because of the talent and experience. They will quit and they'll come. They'll want to do a proper MBA. அவங்க வருவாங்க. டாக்டர்ஸ் இருந்தாங்க என் கூட, அனஸ்தேஷியஸ், கார்டியாலஜிஸ்ட் இருந்தாங்க. ஸோ இட் வாஸ் வெரி வெரி should I say blended team of people. So academics is one side, brilliant professors, no doubt about it, but the alumni is amazing.
Great, sir. You mentioned about your work experience. Can you share your first job experience, especially at Temenos? Kindly share your experience.
Kandipa. So before Temenos, I was with Citibank. I was there for about 8 months' time as a management trainee. Citibank is a brand at that point of time, and it was very nice experience. You get your first exposure to banking, or retail bank எப்படி ஒர்க் பண்ணும், ஒரு அக்கௌண்ட் எப்படி ஓப்பன் பண்ணுவாங்க, செக்ஸ் என்ன பண்ணுவாங்க, அந்த மாதிரிலாம். And at that point of time, I started understanding more on the investment perspective. So that was a time when India வந்து mutual funds or concept slower, it was coming up. So what is a mutual fund? Share is என்ன? So it gave me a very good opportunity to learn these things. So அப்படி இருக்கும்போது, that was a time there was an organization called Temenos, the first time I'm hearing. And people were telling me it's a Swiss company. They are number one in the banking software world. So they want people with some technology experience and konjam banking experience ன்னு சொல்லிட்டு இருந்தாங்க. And I just casually applied through a gentleman who is also one of my mentors. His name is Mr. Mohan Abdinu. He was a very senior person in Reserve Bank of India, RBI. ஸோ அப்போ எப்படின்னா ஆர்பிஐயில் வந்து யூ ஹேட் அ சான்ஸ் ஆஃப் ஒரு 2-3 years நீங்கள் பிரேக் எடுத்துகிட்டு ஆர்பிஐலேருந்து இந்த மாதிரி ப்ரைவேட் கம்பெனிஸில் போய் நீங்கள் வேலை பார்க்கலாம். ஸோ ஆர்பிஐ இட் செல்ஃப் வாஸ் கிவிங் தர் ஆப்பர்ச்சுனிட்டி. ஸோ மிஸ்டர் மோகன் வந்து அந்த மாதிரி பிரேக் எடுத்துகிட்டு டெமினாஸில் வேலை பார்த்துட்டு இருந்தார். அண்ட் ஐ நியூ ஹிம் ஏர்லியர் ஆல்சோ. அகெயின் மயிலாப்பூர் கனெக்ஷன், and I was in touch with him. So Mr. Mohan was the one who was telling me, why don't you apply for Temenos ன்னு சொல்லிட்டு இருந்தார். And then things moved very fast. Now, of course, ஃபஸ்ட்டு 1.5 மாதம் கொஞ்சம் கண்ணு கட்டி காட்டில் விட்ட மாதிரி தான் இருந்தது. But then Temenos played a very, very big role in my entire career. And that's one of the reasons I stuck to Temenos for 24 years. So Temenos as a company, அப்போ வந்து growing. It was a very growing company. And I was fortunate enough to be part of Temenos during that growth period. And Temenos was also a company at that point of time, and until recently, where it's purely meritocracy. When you see people who go out of the mile and do a lot of these things, they encourage. So அந்த மாதிரி நிறைய good contacts, colleagues இருந்தாங்க. I had access to good senior people. Within, I think, first 6-7 monthsலேயே I started traveling. I started traveling to London. Londonல ஒரு 2 வருஷம் இருந்தேன். அப்புறம் சவுதியில் இருந்தேன். So the beauty about Temenos is, like I said, when people see young talent, then they automatically give you the opportunity to do something very, very different. ஸோ அந்த மாதிரி ரொம்ப நல்லா போயிட்டு இருந்துச்சு. தென் ஐ ஹேட் ஆக்சஸ் டு தி CEO of the organization. Fortunately, things were going well for me, and I rose to very senior levels. I was part of the management board of the global management board of Temenos. நிறைய ரோல்ஸ் பண்ணோம். Lot of innovative things I was able to bring to the organization. And like I said, the company பயங்கரமாக grow ஆச்சு. They are even today Temenos is world's number one banking software company. It's a Swiss company. So because it's a Swiss company, the level of quality that they used to bring in to the table even those days was so high. So I learned a lot. I learned a lot from my teachers நிறைய கற்றுன மாதிரி, professors கற்றுன மாதிரி. You should always be blessed to have good bosses.
Do you have any specific person that you want?
Oh, நிறைய பேர் இருக்காங்க. I mean, then I'll have a big list. We have to do another podcast. But just to give some names, Indiaவில் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா, I had a boss called Lalita. And she kind of identified what my talent is. And she said, why don't you get into pre-sales and training? நீ ரொம்ப நல்லா கம்யூனிகேட் பண்ணுற அப்படின்னு அதுலேருந்து ஆரம்பிச்சு lot of bosses, international bosses. There was a gentleman called as John Parry அப்படிங்கிறவர், who was my first international boss when I relocated from India to Switzerland. I was a Switzerland employee. இந்தியாவில் ஆல்மோஸ்ட் நான் ஒரு வருஷம் கூட இருந்திருக்க மாட்டேன். I relocated immediately. I was fortunate enough to get that opportunity. So இந்த ஜான் பாரிங்கிறவர், I learned from him how despite having very high level of qualification and knowledge, you can still be so down to earth அப்படின்னு அவர்கிட்ட கற்றுட்டேன். அது மாதிரி டாஸ்டன் ஷூல்ஸ்னு ஒருத்தர் இருந்தார், who's a German. ஜென்ரலாக ஜெர்மன்னா எல்லோரும் சொல்லுவாங்க பயங்கரம் ப்ராஷாக இருப்பாங்க அப்படின்னா சொல்லுவாங்க. Absolutely not. He really taught me how you can be good to people. I remember a quote that he once said. He always tell me, Ramki, you should always be good to people when you go up in life, because you'll meet the same people when you come down. அப்படின்னு சொல்லுவார். It's like your graph. நீங்கள் மேலே போகும்போது நீங்கள் எல்லாத்தையும் நல்லவனாக இருங்க, because when you come down in your graph, which is very possible, you will meet the same people அப்படின்பார். And I was a young boy அப்போ, hardly 24-25 years, but that really struck into me. So அந்த மாதிரி so many bosses. Mark Gunning, Andreas, who was the chairman of the company. Brilliant. I mean, Andreas is a person who's a genius. And I got the opportunity to work with him so closely. And நிறைய கற்றுனோம் அவர்கிட்ட. எப்படி ஒரு பிஸ்னஸ் எப்படி ரன் பண்ணணும், ஒரு ஃபைனான்ஸ் எப்படி ரன் பண்ணணும், பிகாஸ் ஐ வாஸ் ரன்னிங் அ லார்ஜ் P&L. ஒரு P&L எப்படி ரன் பண்ணணும், ஹவு டு பிரிங் த பெஸ்ட் ஆஃப் தேட். அது மாதிரி பிரேமா வருது, நிறைய மார்க் கன்னிங், லைக் ஐ செட், அதுக்கு தனி போட்காஸ்டே போனோம். ஸோ I always believe that I'm a very lucky person, because டீச்சர்ஸாக இருக்கட்டும், ப்ரொஃபஸர்ஸாக இருக்கட்டும், இல்லை பாஸஸாக இருக்கட்டும், you should always learn something from them. Because every day we can all learn from everybody. அவங்க கிட்டேருந்து மட்டும்தான் கற்றுக்கணும்னு இல்லை, we can learn from so many. I'm learning from you, Sitaram sir. எல்லாரும் மாதிரியும் எல்லாமே ஒரு கிளாஸ் எடுத்துகிட்டு போகாமல் you going out of the way to do a lot of things for your students. So it's a learning. I'm learning that from you. அந்த மாதிரி நிறைய பேர்ட்டு லேர்ன் பண்ணுவோம். எஸ்பெஷலி இந்த மாதிரி பாஸஸ்டேருந்து வரும்போது it brings a lot of positive reaffirmation on you.
Great, sir. You're also co-founder of Impact Tree. Can you share a few things about Impact Tree, when it started, why it is started? Kindly share a few things about it.
Okay, so London Business School படிக்கும்போது, I was telling you, right, one of the good things about இந்த மாதிரி MBA எல்லாம் பண்ணும்போது, academics is one part of it, but நிறைய networking பண்ணுவோம். You make a lot of lifelong friends, and LBS is a very diverse community. You have people from different parts of the world. So one of my classmates, who is a good friend of mine, is called Vivek Shankar Raman. He was being sponsored by Reliance Group. He was a very senior guy in Reliance Group. அங்கேருந்து வந்து LBS பண்ணிட்டு இருந்தார். Young guy, but very well accomplished for their age in Reliance. And then a good friend of mine, Vivek, and we used to sit and discuss a lot of business ideas with a lot of other people, and along with Vivek. Vivek got a spouse, her name is Rajshri. Again, a very, very well accomplished, talented, brilliant women. Who has done phenomenal things, not just for in the business world. அவங்க ஒரு NGO run பண்ணுறாங்க. She stands up for a lot of social causes, especially for women. இந்த கோவிட்லாம் நடக்கும்போது she has done so much to the community. See, in this world, there are a lot of people like Rajshri who contribute so much to the community but still don't want to talk about it. So she is another example, like with her husband Vivek, who tells me that you don't have to make noise always. நீங்கள் குவாய்ட்டாக கம்யூனிட்டிக்கு நிறைய கான்ட்ரிபியூட் பண்ணலாம். children contribute பண்ணலாம், women empowerment contribute பண்ணலாம், but at the same time, do it in a very nice and dignified way. Again, something I learned from them. So they formed a company called as Impactory. So Impactory initially started as a company focused on sustainability. So in a world like what we are doing today, business is all about making profits அப்படின்னு ஒரு myth இருக்கு, right? Profits are very important, absolutely no doubt. Everybody starts a business to make profit. But as you win your profit, as you make your profit, there is a very moral and right way where you go and achieve that, while you also have a social conscious and want to contribute back to the society. So today there are so many industries which physical industries, oil and gas, and a lot of other physical industries. But unfortunately, the impact that it's got having on the global, let's say, the society or the global in terms of the pollution and a lot of other things is huge. So sustainability is a subject that's coming up big time. India, andalukku varala, but in Europe and other places, it's becoming huge. So what governments are telling them is, when you are running a business and that business is getting an impact on the society that you're living in, one way or other, right? The CO2 carbon neutralization பத்தி பேசுறோம், இல்லனா we're talking about global warming பேசுறோம். There are a lot of these things that's happening, and one way or other because of நம்ம அவ்வளோ chemical வெளியே எடுத்துட்டு வரோம் when we run different types of businesses. So what these European governments are doing is they're saying you have to give back to the society அப்படிங்கிறாங்க. You have to monitor and evaluate how much of damage are you as a company doing அப்படிங்கிறாங்க. Carbon footprint is one of them, right? The other example is, when I say sustainability, it's just not about carbon footprint. It is also about ensuring that you offer a good lifestyle to your employees. Now, one of the biggest challenge we hear in the market is, while China is big and it's got a huge economy and huge GDP, but அங்கே இருக்கிற lifestyle of employees, the blue collar workers, we can say, பார்த்தீங்கன்னா பயங்கரமாக இருக்கும், right? So ஒரு ப்ராப்பர் கம்பெனி நீங்கள் செட் பண்ணும்போது, and when you become profitable or otherwise, you have to ensure that the dynamics are very positive. Be it the way you manage people, be it you set up your industries, be it can be any carbon output like they were talking and all that. So இதெல்லாம் மெஷர் பண்ணுறதுக்கு ஒரு சாஃப்ட்வேர் வேணும் பேசிக்காக, right? And at the same time, the software should also help the organization bring profitability. That is the software that Impactory is built. It needs a lot of thought process. The decision making of building this software alone took us about 2.5 years. I mean, I'll give full credit to Rajshri and Vivek. It's their baby. I'm a co-founder, but then I was helping them more on the financials, investment, எங்கே ஃபண்டிங் பண்ணணும், எங்கே கம்பெனி ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணணும், அந்த ஒரு ஆங்கிளில் தான் என்னோட கான்ட்ரிபியூஷன் இருந்துச்சே தவிர, தி ethos of the software and the growth of the software, the DNA of the software is built by Rashri and Vivek. Until date, they're doing so well. We have about 200 plus clients across the organization. The company is owned by the three of us today. We don't have any investors yet because we want to keep it as a bootstrap company so far. And the company is growing exceptionally well now. I think it's coming to a point where we will have to look at investment and all that. So this is one initiative of mine. And quite a few initiatives I've been part and parcel of, right from my times when I started working.